Hello, I am attempting to do a little video about my workflow and about my system, which I believe may be fairly unique. I'm running Ubuntu 18.04 originally with the GNOME desktop. I'm not quite sure exactly what the desktop is now. I think it's an amalgamation of things. If I look at my system profiler, it's going to tell me that I'm running GNOME. At least I think it's going to tell me that. This is not the way to get this. I think that I want... No, I'm not really sure how to get the information on this. But we can find out quickly enough. Version of desktop. All right, so let's do a new one of these here, a new window. Stick it over here. I don't know. I don't know if I want to do this. See, this is not installed. This is a part of it, because what I've done here, I don't know if you can notice this, I actually have the Pop OS theme. I might be able to see all that in tweaks under appearance. I'm using the Pop Slim Dark theme, and I've got the Lambda wallpaper. So the system is a little bit unusual, and actually I think if I go into settings, this is where I can see that under details about here. It's the GNOME 3.28.2. But if I do, what is it? Apt repository. If I look at the apt repositories, let's see. If I look under here, I can see the repositories that I've added, and so I've got these I've got this System 76 repository that's in here, and what I can do here is I can go in here all right, so these are the packages from System 76 that I have installed. And so normally you would not find this on an Ubuntu system. All these different packages of firmware, even just silly things like the wallpaper. Different drivers, power control, but mainly it's the theme. And so I think well, I don't seem to have the history entry for how I installed. I was going to show you that. We can find it over here though. Pop OS, pop hyphen under OS theme on Ubuntu. So this article here, and it's FOSS, will tell you how to use the Pop GTK theme. Let's see if it gives you, here. So basically, we add this repository, update the apt repositories, and then do a sudo apt install the pop theme, and then the pop icon theme, and then the pop GTK theme. And I thought all this stuff should have been in my history, but it looks as though it isn't. So if I do a history and I grep -I, which means case insensitive, for pop TK, for example, it's not showing up. So I don't know why my history seems to have gotten wiped out at some point in my earlier history. And it may be that when I installed ZSH, and specifically oh-my-zsh, that it wiped it out. So as you can see here, perhaps you can see here, I don't have the history of my installation of oh-my-zsh. So that's a pretty good indicator that when I installed that and got the new shell, that it did not merge my old history. Well, I don't see it here either. So anyway, besides having these repositories in here, the first thing I installed was the Lambda Stack. And that's all of this. And actually, Lambda Stack makes a lot of changes to the system. And it's very, very easy to do. For some reason, this web page is very difficult to read in dark mode. So I've got a Chrome extension here that'll allow me to fiddle with that a little bit. So I hope you can see this here. This is the one-line command that will, or the one line of commands that will install the Lambda Stack. So what's recommended here is to make a fresh Ubuntu installation of either 16.04 or 18.04. Hopefully in a couple of months, when 2004 comes out, Mr. Balaban will, I think that's how he pronounces his name, will have updated all of this. Stephen Balaban, I think is the gentleman's name who created all of this. Hopefully he will update this for 2004. Seems very likely that Lambda Labs will want to put 2004 on their new systems. But this really is a wonderful, wonderful PPA because it will get Tensorflow, the NVIDIA drivers, CUDA, all of that, all the correct versions working properly, which is, if you've ever tried to do it yourself, is very, very difficult, nearly impossible. It really takes a full-time engineer just to maintain that stack of programs. And this does it brilliantly onto a new install of Ubuntu. And then after I did this, then I was able to change the theme, which sounds like a trivial thing, but it's not. It's not just the theme. There are quite a few other things that change with that. And then I installed the Pop Shop. So the Pop Shop on Ubuntu. I'd like to find the apt command for that. I believe that once you install that PPA for where is it? System 76. I'm not finding it here. Once you install this, you can just do an well, let's do an apt cache search for pop, And this comes back with all of the things that are all the things that can be installed. So for one thing, here's the pop theme over here. It's a meta package, so it installs a lot of things. It's not just an icon pack and a few other things like that. But once you have the Pop Shop available, so here's Ubuntu software. This is their software center, and it has a lot of things in here that can be installed. But here's the Pop Shop. And the Pop Shop is actually something that was put together by Elementary OS, and it was so good, System 76 folks have gone on and they've tweaked it for their own use. And you can see they're similar, but there are things inside the Pop Shop that are not inside of GNOME software, and I guess vice versa. But I do like having this as a resource. Now we can take a look at what's installed here and here. So this is just one of the things that people say they really like about Pop OS, and so you can have this. I did install the Lambda Stack on top of Pop OS, and it worked for a while, and then I started having problems. I don't know if it's because it was on top of Pop OS or for some other reason, but I thought it was safest to go this route. So another problem with the Lambda Stack, besides possibly not working well on top of Pop OS, and by the way, Pop OS is perhaps the only system other than generic Ubuntu that I would even try installing the Lambda Stack. The other thing is that Anaconda does not play well with the Lambda Stack. And this is a problem because data scientists use Anaconda a lot. And if you look down here at my prompt, you can see that I'm currently inside of a Conda virtual environment. So how is that even possible? If Anaconda doesn't work, then this should be impossible to do. I'm just looking for a directory here. I forgot the name of the directory. Let's see far. Well, this is the command I want to run. So let me just Control-C this so I have it here. I got something in here called Z Jump Around, which is something that I installed inside oh-my-zsh. It's a plugin for oh-my-zsh. It's something we can talk about later. And if I only remember a part of the name of the directory I was in, I can type it this way, and it looks in a database and says, oh, you were inside this .gits models tutorials image cfar10 directory. That's where you want to go, and there you are. And then this is the command I want to run here. Why am I running this? Because this runs Tensorflow, and you can see it's not running here. So let's do this. Test env. I think what I want here is test env. So it's source tilde slash dot env slash test env, then oops, activate. All right, now let's try this again. All right, so what I'm showing you here is that at the moment I am running Tensorflow, and we're processing some batches here, and you can see this is saying that we're processing 318 batches or examples every second using Tensorflow. I think I also have just a I thought there was another test script in here. There isn't, but that's all right. I think I've shown that Tensorflow is running fine in here. And as a matter of fact, let's turn this off here. If I open this up, this is a Jupyter notebook from FastAI's course, and we can just run through here and get down here. This is for ResNet 34. You can see right now we're training a model. And what this model does is recognize different kinds of dogs and cats. So I don't really need to run this right now. But it'll tell you the different kinds of breeds for these animals. And you can see here, I ran this earlier, and it got one of these guys here, and one of these guys over here was miscategorized. But pretty much this model was right on the line here. And we could see that these are the most confused. It had trouble telling the American Pit Bull Terrier from the Staffordshire Bull Terrier. So I don't imagine that most people could do that, much less a computer learning network. But this is something that ordinarily is not very easy to accomplish, to get the FastAI Jupyter notebooks running correctly on a standalone workstation. The course itself generally sends people off to pre-built sites in the cloud to run these notebooks. So I'm rather proud that I have all of this stuff working here. So those are the two main items, or the three main items that I think makes my system fairly unique: the Lambda Stack, the Pop OS components, and then the fastai setup, which is done using their Git hub repository. Where is it? It's this fastai 2, and it's almost, the instructions are almost correct on here. There are some extra things that have to be done. For example, down here, where we do, where is it? We go into the fastai 2 GitHub repository and clone it. I find that I also have to do a pip install fastai. So besides installing the development build of fastai 2, it also requires the old build of fastai to work properly. But one can follow these instructions and get this more or less up and running. Let's see if this thing is finished yet. Yeah, here I am. So this is still running. This takes a little while because it's many thousands of lines that it's processing here over and over again. It's doing multiple epochs, and it's on its third now, so it still has one to go. So what else is in here that you might find unusual? Besides having oh-my-zsh and besides having oh-my-zsh in here, let's see. Excuse me. CD. Yeah, I think it's a CSH config. I'm trying to see where all of the plugins, oh, here they are. So here inside oh-my-zsh, I put in all of these different plugins. There's one for Git, there's one for VI mode. Here's that Z command that we used earlier to find a directory that I couldn't remember the name of. There's some navigation tools here, Ubuntu commands. There's some special stuff that's done for history. There's some special things for sudo. There's auto suggestions and syntax highlighting. And these are quite nice to have. If I open up another window here, and tile it over here, you can see that as soon as I start to type something, it's giving me auto completion suggestions. And you can see that it's in red So if I type PW, this is going to give an error because that's not a command, right? And so when I run it, one of the nice things is my prompt here will tell me that I've gotten an error code for it. When it's typed correctly, you can see it turns green. So that now we know that this is good. And for history, there are some aliases that get put in there. So, for example, I can type hit H, and it will give me all my history. But it also has a function where if I hit Control R, it will show me my history. And now I can filter for something. So, for example, if I hit the letter K, it'll come in with this. If I'm looking for a Docker command that I ran and I don't remember the syntax for it, it'll just keep filtering. So as much as I can remember, and it doesn't have to be from the beginning of the line, it can be something in the middle as well. So if I'm looking for this guy here, this one, because I couldn't remember it, I just hit the down arrow and then hit enter, and you'll see it'll put it on the line for me, and it's in green, so I know it's a good command, it's valid. I also see that I had run this -- loop earlier, where the NVIDIA SMI system management interface, I think that is, ran over and over again every 10,000 milliseconds, so once a second. And if I want to, I can hit the right arrow, which will jump me to the end of that, and you'll see that it knows that's not a command, that's an argument, so it highlights it in a different color, but it's not in red, so it's not saying that it's wrong, and then it will run. So some of these things are very, very helpful. I would recommend to anyone that they learn about oh-my-zsh and then configure it. If you're interested in this prompt, this whole prompt thingy here, this is all done with something called power level 9K, and both oh-my-zsh and power level 9K are all out on GitHub. It's going to require something called nerd font, and it's also going to require the power level and power level font to be installed. But then this is very, very helpful. And finally, because Anaconda does not work with the Lambda Stack, I installed miniconda, and we can go take a look for that. And when we want to do something, we just see how it's done on Ubuntu. And because this is, the base of this is Ubuntu, come in here, we find the Linux installer, which is here, and download it just by clicking on it. We can check the hash to make sure that it's the same. It's always a good idea to check the hash. If you don't know how to do that, you can look that up, and once that's available, then we can use miniconda. We can use the conda command in miniconda to create virtual environments, etc. One of the nice things about the Lambda system also, with Lambda Labs, let's see. Is that once you have this installed, you can actually create Docker images and run them inside of virtual environments. And it gives you all the commands here, so you just have to cut and paste them into your terminal to run them. And because Anaconda doesn't work, they use the Venv package that goes with Python 3 for most of what they do, well, for all of what they have in their documentation. A lot of this can be done with Conda once you have miniconda installed without breaking the system. And you can always install, once you have your virtual environment set up, then you're going to be installing into that environment. If it breaks, you just delete the environment and start over without messing up your system. You see here that there is a switch for system site packages. So when this virtual environment is set up, it copies over all the system site packages so that they're available. When you do additional installations, unless you specify that you want it installed globally, it's going to put it inside the local environment. It's not going to put it into the system site packages. The problem with Python when you start building projects is that you can get packages that don't exist well with each other. You need this package, this requires that you have this other package, and if you try doing that in the system site packages, you're going to run into conflicts, things are going to break. So that's why we want to build inside virtual environments. Anyway, this is a bit of a tour of how I set up my machine learning data science system so that I can run tutorials and create models and that sort of thing on my local system. And I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to jump back here into this workspace so that I can turn this off. Thank you and goodbye.